Cerberus, the three-headed hound that guards the entrance to the underworld. Let's take a spec-evil look at this monstrous good boy. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Speculative Wildlife Research Center. Cerberus, the 3 or 50-headed dog, depending on who you ask, is one of the most iconic and emblematic creatures of ancient Greek myth, so it will be fun reimagining it as a real living being in our world. Big thanks to Alec Foisey for commissioning this episode, and giving me the basis for what would become this video. Remember, each like and subscribe is a pat on the head for Cerberus. And now, without further ado, let's get started. Domestication, selective breeding, genetic modification. We've come up with so many ways to take the natural world and bend it to our needs. And while this is usually for the better, there are many times when our disregard for the well-being of the animals and plants we alter is displayed in full. And I'm not talking only about pugs, but also about today's research subject, the Cerberus. The history of this creature began in ancient Greece, when a group of people living in the south of Argos, near the ancient habitat of the Hydra, started breeding the dogs that formed a part of their daily lives. Inspired by the terrifying and dangerous animals that lived in the area, as well as the stories that had spawned from these same creatures, these people began selecting their loyal companions not for their size nor their ferocity. They selected for conjoined twins. In nature, conjoined twins are a very rare phenomenon. While we are not sure how many are born in the wild, most die very soon after birth. Sometimes their condition has side effects that prevent their survival. Sometimes they are unable to walk or escape from predators. And sometimes their mothers will abandon or eat them, as they do with many unhealthy young. Under the care of human beings, however, conjoined pups would be able to survive into adulthood thanks to the watchful eye of their handlers. These conjoined twins would not always look the same, with many ancient records speaking of two-headed Cerberus, or individuals with many bodies that joined at the head. But careful selection allowed for a single phenotype to arise, as the mutations that allowed for the imperfect separation of the embryos became a stable part of their genotype. It should be noted that the tails of these huge three-headed dogs may be misleading. While the Cerberus had, indeed, 3 heads, each of these was connected to its own body. Rather than a 3-headed dog, the Cerberus breed was composed of 3 dogs joined by the torso. Each dog had its own malformed body, and a lot of training would be needed for these dogs to learn how to move and act in unison, even if their individual personalities would end up clashing every now and then. This would be integral to the purpose of the breed, since these animals were not intended as hunters, or as company animals, but as guardians. The Cerberus would be posted near the entrances of important places, including vaults and treasuries, where they would be the first line of defense against potential intruders. And as such, it was needed for these animals to be as intimidating as they could possibly be. As shown in this illustration, the Cerberus breed only has 4 functional legs, stronger and sturdier to hold up their increased weight, and these belong to the individuals located at the sides of the triplet. The reason for this, as far as archaeologists are capable of determining, was that the breed having more legs would make it look like a group of dogs at a quick glance, which would have had much less of an impact than what seemed to be a 3-headed monster. The rest of the legs are malformed, unusable by the Cerberus. Still, the presence of these legs was not without purpose, since these legs, as well as the tails from the side triplets, would resemble snake heads as they moved and bounced, giving this animal an appearance more in tune with many mythical creatures of old. It should be noted, the Cerberus would often bite at its own misshapen legs, often leading to infections, and so modern breeders tend to remove these at birth. In any case, the intimidation factor of these animals was usually the best they had going for them. Given the way the bodies of these dogs are conjoined, they are incredibly slow and bad at maneuvering compared to other dog breeds. And once they actually engage with an intruder, they would be much less efficient at the task than 3 separate dogs would. While the ghastly appearance of these dogs would be enough to scare off potential thieves and intruders, tales tell of some who were brave and strong enough to not only face these animals, but even tie them up and remove them from their post. The results of this high degree of endogamy, it should be noted, are not limited to only what the Cerberus breeders had intended. As many dog breeds do, the Cerberus has its own list of health issues that are common across the breed, and this includes, aside from unintended malformations, a plethora of skin problems, including rashes, allergies, and mange. It's not uncommon for ancient records of the breed mentioning them being snake-like, a result of the balding and scaliness these disorders would produce on large portions of their skin. Their compromised immune system also leads to the Cerberus carrying a huge diversity of pathogens in its body, which can lead to shortened lifespans. Furthermore, people who were in close contact with this breed could catch diseases by touching their excreta or wounds these animals had sustained. Bites, for their part, would often lead to terrible infections due to the high amount of bacteria present in their saliva, similar to what Komodo dragons were once erroneously believed to do. Hence, it was believed these dogs were straight up venomous, adding to their terrible reputation. While it was once widely distributed across the Mediterranean, this breed soon fell out of favor due to the health issues they presented, and unlike other breeds created for specific jobs, Cerberus never became popular as a pet due to its intimidating and disturbing appearance. While the existence of this breed was a long accepted fact of life, if often going under the radar due to its small distribution, in modern times it has become much more widely known thanks to the internet and social media. This caused a widespread call for halting the breeding of more Cerberus, in account of the poor health and suffering that these dogs undergo, although some opponents have cited cultural relevance in order to keep doing so, a position that has been widely criticized. And that's it for Speculative Biology look into Cerberus. Now, if you've been a long-time follower of the channel, you'll have noticed this is the first polycephalic creature we have on the channel that actually gets to have multiple heads. Or, multiple bodies, but it still counts. Well, I'm counting it. Of course, I've talked about why that is not a good idea in an animal. But that kind of thing stops being a consideration when our species begins playing around with things, and this is what informed the original concept by Alec, which took a look at the state dogs have found themselves in thanks to our meddling, and now we've taken it to the extreme to turn man's best friend into this monstrosity. Which, just to remind you, if you like dogs, get them from a good place. And remember, the endogamy purebreds are subjected to can be a source of issues for your best friend. So, I hope you liked this episode. And here's a thank you to everyone who wanted to see Cerberus, as well as the similar Arthros featured in the channel. While Arthros got a small mention today, there's a chance we might still do something with the concept later on. And also, thank you to our researchers and research associates who support us through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Remember, you too can join in if you want to support our channel, and you get some nice perks too, like seeing all of our creatures and videos ahead of time and helping mold them into shape. Or you can also like, subscribe, or write a comment telling me how these good boys rank among the Greek monsters we've met on the channel so far. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time on the Speculative Wildlife Research Center.